Jack Murphy. In August 2022, a group of students from the National Outdoor Leadership School were on a wilderness first responder course in Absaroka Mountains of Wyoming. Among them was Jack Murphy, a 22-year-old from Boston who loved spending time outdoors and dreamed of helping others through wilderness education. Jack and his classmates had set up camp near Enos Lake, high up at about 7,800 feet. The day had been calm and peaceful, but suddenly, clouds began to gather. The sounds warned of a storm approaching. Jack went back to his tent, alongside others. After a while, everyone heard a really loud bang. It was the lightning, but it was really close. Yes, lightning had struck Jack's tent. Despite the efforts of his fellow classmates who performed CPR, Jack did not survive. He had died from cardiac arrest. Another student was injured but was airlifted to hospital and recovered. This was the first time a student had died from lightning in NOLS's history. Jack's family remembered him as someone full of life, who found peace and joy in nature. In his memory, the Jack Murphy Foundation was created. It was to honor his passion and provide scholarships for wilderness enthusiasts. Timothy Treadwell. Timothy loved bears. For more than 13 years, he lived in the wild forests of Alaska, camping near grizzly bears, watching them, and filming their lives. He even named the bears and considered them his friends. But in October 2003, when Timothy and his girlfriend Amy Huguenard were in Katmai National Park, the bears were hungrier than any other time because of hibernation. But Timothy was used to the bears and felt safe around them. One night, a large male grizzly got too close. He attacked Timothy and Amy, all while being recorded on camera. Although only the audio file was available, it showed the last 6 minutes of their lives, screaming and struggling. When park rangers found the campsite days later, they had to shoot 2 aggressive bears, only to find what was believed to be their remains. Timothy's story is mostly known through Werner Herzog's documentary Grizzly Man. It inspired many people to care about nature, but not in a way that risks their own lives. Dustin Kjersem. In October 2024, Dustin Kjersem, a 35-year-old skilled tradesman and devoted father, set out for a camping trip near Big Sky, Montana. He had camped in a quiet area where he was approached by a mysterious man. 2 days later, Dustin's girlfriend became worried. She asked Dustin's friend to go and look for him in the campsite he told her he had stayed. But his friend found him dead in his tent. At first, it was thought of as a bear attack, but investigators saw the suspicious wounds in his neck. The DNA test led them to the suspect, Darren Christopher Abbey. Darren claimed he had been invited to drink beer with the victim, Dustin, but things got out of hand. Darren attacked Dustin with a piece of wood, stabbing him with a screwdriver and with an axe. Darren stole the items he thought he may have touched, but he forgot one, the beer can. Darren was arrested and claimed self-defense, saying that Dustin had threatened to kill him. He was pleaded not guilty and his bail was set at $1.5 million. This case shocked the Montana's wilderness community. Dustin's sister remembered him as a loving father, a hard-working man, someone who had never deserved such a violent end. Vance sisters. In the summer of 2022, 2 sisters from Colorado, Rebecca Vance, 42, and Christine Vance, 41, made a life-changing decision. Rebecca, unsettled by the modern society, still affected by the COVID pandemic, dreamed of living off the grid, away from everyone and everything. She convinced her 14-year-old son and her sister Christine to join her. They packed their supplies, left Colorado Springs, and drove into the mountains near Gunnison, Colorado. There, deep in the wilderness, they set up camp in Gold Creek Campground, 9 miles away from the nearest town. At first, everything was fine. Freedom, silence, no rules, just mountains, trees, and exploring. But as the weeks passed, the challenges of survival began. They had no real shelter, no real food, and no experience living in the wild, except for a couple of YouTube videos Rebecca had watched. When the first snows came, they gave up trying. By winter, the temperatures dropped far below freezing. They huddled in their tent, burning through whatever they could find, waiting for warmth that never came. The snow piled higher, and they ran out of food. Almost a year later, in July 2023, a hiker who was exploring the area found what was left of their camp. The scene was tragic and unbelievable. Almost mummified family members near a small tent which was nothing similar to a shelter. Autopsies later confirmed that they had died of malnutrition and hypothermia. Rebecca's stepsister, Trivala Jara, said, "We really tried to stop them." But Rebecca had been worried about the world. She wanted to protect her son from the dangers of society and believed living off-grid was the safest choice. None of them had plans or any real experience. We're hoping people would consider the risks of such decisions. Camp Mystic. In July 2025, Camp Mystic became one of the most tragic scenes in the history of Texas. In a girls' camp near the Guadalupe River, many campers had stayed in their wooden cabins. It was supposed to be just another day of adventures, songs, and campfire memories. But after midnight, a heavy rain began to fall. The river, calm just hours earlier, started to swell. At around 1 a.m., a warning went out. Life-threatening flash flood. Move to higher ground. But by then, the water was already rising. Officials said the water rose 26 feet in less than an hour. Down by the riverside cabins, counselors woke to the sound of rushing water. They shouted for the girls to get up and run. But in the darkness, it was chaos. The flood came with terrifying speed, slamming into cabins, sweeping everything in its path. Everyone was trying to go somewhere high. Counselors linked arms, trying to pull the youngest to safety. It was a very distressful moment. Within minutes, everything was destroyed by the flood, and the camp was underwater. 27 campers and counselors were confirmed dead. Among them was camp director Richard Eastland, who lost his life trying to save the girls. The rescue team went searching for the other children who had been missing. Across Kerr County, the flood claimed over 100 lives. The river that had once been a peaceful backdrop for summer memories had turned deadly overnight.